Kempire is brought to you by...
Have you rated the Kempire podcast? Kempire podcast is available on Google and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, all the places. But rating is very important for a podcast. As you know, we've been building the Kempire podcast in the last couple of years, and so many of you have rated it on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, but we're still trying to reach our goal. We're crawling to 500 on both Spotify and on Apple. Shout out to those of you that have given us glowing reviews and 5-star reviews. We appreciate it, but we're still not at our goal. And I know you guys are listening because the numbers are numbering. So be sure to subscribe, rate, review the Kempire podcast on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And more information on our sponsors will be available in the description.
You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network.
Not the Virgos are here and ready. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. Be sure to let me know if you can hear me loud and clear, because as you can see, I'm not in the studio at the present moment. Okay? Shout out to everyone watching. Be sure to let us know again where you're watching from. And PK will officially be called PJ from going forward. How would you guys rate this week's episode of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? There is a poll in our YouTube live chat, so be sure to let us know as well. Yes, the Virgos are ready. Look, shout out to the Virgos, because despite how many times I've dragged Virgos, and I'm going to say dragged, you guys are able to take it. And if anything, that makes you guys even sexier. The fact that you can be dragged and still take it, some of these other signs, Scorpios, can't take it. Geminis can't take it. But shout out to the Virgos. Y'all got a backbone like no other. Still irks my nerves, but backbone like no other. Sashay Shante says Virgos are resilient. Very much so. All right. That's for your Virgo. I forgot. But we have so many Virgos that follow the channel. And last week, Friday, we did our dating live, which we are going to do this Friday. I'm bringing on a special guest, a life coach, someone that I respect, is going to be here to help a lot of you with some dating advice. So stay tuned for that. We're going to bring a special guest this Friday for our dating live. Yes, we're going to do another one. Okay. And if you missed it, we had this week, it won't be 5 hours because I have to respect people have lives, meaning our special guest. And we will do a live answering some of your questions, talking about dating, astrology, and a lot more. All right. NASA says, I can't wait for Friday. Me too. But a lot of you have been asking when we were going to talk about the Real Housewives of New York reunion, which it ended this past week. We're also going to talk about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. But before we get into that, today's live is sponsored by our friends over at Rose Forever. Valentine's Day is literally less than 10 days away. Have you gotten what you needed to get? Have you gotten something for yourself or someone that you love? Well, I have a thing here to show you guys. Look at these roses. These roses are like 2 years old and they still are beautiful and lush. Can you believe that? Gorgeous. So go get you something, roses that will last you at least a year. Of course, you've gotten your discount code Kempire20 for $20 off. Get something for yourself, if anything. All right. Mia says, did I miss Tuesday Takeover? No, you did not. I told you I had plans. I can't do it every single week. But if you missed the last couple of weeks, we did do a Tuesday Takeover. So be sure to check that out. All right. Before we get into Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, if you had to rate this week's episode, the final part of the Real Housewives of New York's reunion, how would you rate it? And here's the thing. I just want to preface this with a disclaimer. Believe victims, period. However, I don't believe Brynn when it comes to her telling Ubah. Ubah gave her a lot of grace, and we can all learn from Ubah, okay, in regards to giving grace. But Ubah said something, I believe it was in one of her confessions, where she says, she's like, cut my wings. If I was told that, Ubah doesn't want to be made out to be that bad person. And I also think Ubah, beyond just being on a reality show, she doesn't want to believe that she could be a person that could hear about someone being victimized and not be sympathetic to that. But that is exactly what Brynn was counting on. I'm going to say what people are not willing to say, because I think, and I get it. I get why Bravo is handling this with very much care and sensitivity, as they should. They are an employer. I am not Brynn's employer, and you are not Brynn's employer, so you could say the things. I believe in victims. I don't believe in weaponizing what happened to you against someone that you considered a friend. And that is exactly what Brynn did. And she did it again to this entire friend group during the reunion. And I think part of their reaction later on was sort of like, this is also being shared with the world. And you saw it during the season finale that they didn't want people to believe that they didn't believe Brynn, that she had been SA'd by someone. But they did not believe Brynn when it comes to, did she or did she not tell Ubah? I believe that she did not tell Ubah. I don't believe she said anything to Ubah, not even in a spillage of everything that she was, opening up to Ubah about. I don't believe that. I believe Brynn intentionally weaponized that in order to protect herself, protect her job, and to disparage Ubah. I believe that is what she did. So please understand, two things can exist. We can believe Brynn, we can believe victims, we can support victims and continue that. But we can also call Brynn out for weaponizing that against someone that she considered a friend. And then she weaponized it against everyone on this cast. So much so, poor Raquel, she's like, she had to go to Brynn. She's like, I don't want you to, I cried about this. I was sensitive to this. I don't want you to, we generally love you. No, you don't. I don't think you, I believe the cast genuinely has love for Brynn. I don't think that they love Brynn because Brynn is just not capable of receiving that love. Brynn needs therapy. Brynn doesn't need to be on reality television. And I'm not going through every single thing that happened during this reunion because it's just not necessary. I, like many other people, are very glad that The Real Housewives of New York City season 15 is over. As you know, I was at Watch What Crappens special live show that they had here in New York City for the Crappy Awards. I got to meet Rebecca Minkoff there. Lovely woman. Probably the first time that I met someone in Scientology. I was going to say something else. But first time ever meet, at least for what I know. She seemed very lovely. She was nicer than Jessel was, allegedly. Well, no, she was. I didn't speak to Jessel. I just witnessed Jessel sort of be weird towards Brooke Ashley, who met her multiple times before. So Rebecca Minkoff announced this week that she would not be returning to the Real Housewives of New York. And before anyone says anything in regards to, girl, you barely brought anything. Oh, but she showed up during this reunion, and I love the way that she got Brynn together. I was like, where was this Rebecca all season? For the first time, I was like, yes, Rebecca, that is what we wanted to see all season. But I get it. We're watching an edited show. She could have given us more moments. I hate the fact that she was a part of that silly prank that played out for multiple episodes. So at least she was also transparent. They showed a never before seen footage where she talked about how after COVID, her business saw a major loss. I like that honesty. And she's like, let me come on the show. Very much like what I think, a lot of these housewives come on the show. They want to elevate their businesses. I don't know if that happened for Rebecca. I would like, if anything, I wish I saw the reunion beforehand because that would have been my question to Rebecca. Rebecca, did you see an improvement in sales with your business from being on this show? Look, a lot of people in her business suffered because of COVID. A lot of those businesses actually closed down. Her business did not close down. But maybe she did see a jump. And maybe she will see a jump after this reunion because I think after watching the reunion, we're sort of like, we never saw this Rebecca before. I'd like to see more of this Rebecca. But I'm okay with Rebecca not coming back. Rebecca, you have your own business. Yes, I think the business that Rebecca's in is hard in general. And even if she did see a spike in regards to sales for her business now, you would have to be on this every single season in order to continue that. But people like Rebecca's merchandise. So I think she'll be fine. I think she just saw because of COVID, like everyone else, she saw, her business was affected. Okay. Someone said it was probably Scientology and not COVID that did it. No, I don't think that was it. Because a lot of people didn't even know that she was in Scientology until Housewives of New York. So, is what it is. But like I said, the fact that she showed up during this reunion and came for Brynn the way that everyone on the stage should have come for Brynn, I wasn't ready for it. I also wasn't ready for Rebecca and Aaron to have the falling out that they had. And Aaron says that Rebecca didn't like the fact on, I guess, the tone that Aaron had when it comes to speaking about how can you be Jewish and a Scientologist. But I also appreciate the editors because they were like, Rebecca, you said that Scientology wasn't a religion, but during the reunion, you're saying, no, it is a religion. It helped me with this. It helped me with that. The cast also called out Rebecca for saying, you did not want to talk about it. It was the elephant in the room and you didn't want to talk about it. Fine. But I like the fact that the editors showed what she originally said on the show versus what she's saying now during the reunion, because we all said it. I was like, Rebecca, so you're telling us that this religion that, has religious tax status and doesn't pay taxes is not actually a religion? It's a philosophy? Could she have misspoke? Possibly. But there have been a lot of questions on whether or not Scientology is actually a religion. Whatever. Exactly. Mr. Melon Magic says the crazy thing is that Brynn doubled down after the reunion, so she sealed her fate. Yeah, you saw the Rolling Stone interview that Brynn did. So I wonder how Ubah feels now, especially after giving her forgiveness. She gave Brynn exactly what she needed to appease the audience. Because some of the audiences will never read the Rolling Stone article. They will just take the show at face value. And Ubah gave Brynn the forgiveness that Brynn needed, because now the narrative about Brynn weaponizing her essay against Ubah is not necessarily following her. But you're right, Mr. Melon Magic, she did double down in that Rolling Stone interview. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. It's easy and it's free. We will take a few callers today. As you can see, I'm not in the studio. However, I'm still giving you guys some content. Again, just don't forget to like the video. And don't forget, you can hear an audio version of our live recaps and special episodes like the Fall of Diddy special episode that we released yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. So be sure to check that out. Exclusively available on the Kempire podcast. The visual version will be released later. But as I said before, there's always special episodes coming out on the Kempire podcast. So be sure to subscribe and give us a 5-star rating today. All right. Shout out to our King's Guard. Shout out to our channel members. We see all of you in there. And of course, shout out to our subscribers and those of you watching in the bushes. Okay. So what else happened during this Real Housewives of New York City reunion? I was so glad that this reunion was in 3 parts. And Andy, the way that he talked about Salt Lake City's reunion and the way he talked about Rhony's reunion, fail. So I'm not sure if I'm excited about the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion. Yes, the trailer looked good, but he hyped it up so much. I'm just like, you also hyped up Rhony. You hyped up the Salt Lake City reunion. Salt Lake City, I'm going to forgive them because they had a great season, but the reunion is not hitting. Anyone else? The reunion's just okay, but it's not great. Even though last week I was crying, but that's because of Mary Cosby and her son's story. But other than that, the Salt Lake City reunions, the Rhony reunion, glad it was only 2 parts, but it was also But I didn't expect the Rhony reunion to be great. The season was terrible. And I don't say that lightly. Anyways, Missy says the reunion is a bore. Samantha says, I agree about Salt Lake City's reunion. I'm a bit underwhelmed. And maybe because it was such a great reunion, but shout out to Real Housewives of Orange County. They had a stellar season. Even the reunion was really good. So I have high hopes for their next season. I am also very excited for the Real Housewives of Miami. That should be coming soon. But as you already saw, they announced that Real Housewives of Atlanta will be coming before that in March. March 6th, I believe it's supposed to be coming. Okay. Nash says, hold on. I lost Nash's comment. There we go. Nash says, oversell and underdeliver. I'm over it. It's all right. Bianca says, Rhony's reunion is in 3 parts. It didn't seem like it was done. You didn't see the ending when they had a little bit of the, I forgot what it's called. But yeah, no, it's over. Thank you, Lord. Okay. So the Real Housewives of New York City reunion was Okay, if you had to rate it though from 1 to 10, how would you rate it? So they covered a bunch of things. Rebecca came out. I think the producers purposely left the awkwardness of Rebecca sort of sitting there, and they were like, "Okay, we're done." So Rebecca's like, "Oh, so what do I do now?" I was like, "Oh, are they going to take my mic off here?" It was so awkward because they left it in. And I think the producers have a sense of humor, so they're sort of like, "Let's leave this in because it's awkward and it's funny." All right. There were a couple of things that Brynn and Ubah had to discuss. At the top of the part 2 of the reunion, they had to talk about Brynn's comments in referencing, Oliver is not going to like you if you come across as the angry Black woman, which led to a larger conversation on social media. A lot of people were talking about how that was a microaggression towards Ubah from Brynn. But Brynn loves to say, "Oh, I identify as a Black woman." Okay, it seems like you identify as a Black woman when it's convenient. Just saying. But anyways, so she of course turns on the tears. It's like that's not what that was not my intention. So she tries to explain it, and I'm just like, I it's not explaining for me. It's not. So she tries to explain what she meant by referencing, about even Andy was confused. Aaron, when he read a comment from one of the viewers in regards to even Aaron clocked it, and Aaron was like, even Aaron, as if she shouldn't have clocked it. But no, Aaron, I think that was a compliment. Don't take it as people say, because you as a white woman, they were like, even as a white woman, Aaron was able to clock. Yeah, Brynn, don't say that. So we were actually impressed, Aaron, that you were able to see it. But Brynn, who identifies as a Black woman, was not able to see how saying something like that, Oliver's not going to want you if you act like this on television. You're going to come across as the angry Black woman. This is coming from a Black woman. But Aaron was able to clock. He's like, don't say that. So Aaron, that was a compliment. Okay, that wasn't a diss. Okay. Calm down. Anyways, Nelly says, I unfollowed Brynn immediately. After the angry Black woman comment that she did, a lot of people ended up unfollowing Brynn after the season. So that was the first issue that Brynn and Ubah had to talk about. And Ubah was just like, I haven't had any issues as a Black woman. I get a lot of things because I'm Black and beautiful. And so Andy was just like, you get things for free because you're Black? She was just like, well, yeah, people give me this, people give me that. Okay, Ubah. But Ubah is very forgiving. She's like, I forgive you for that. Ubah, even during the reunion, hugs Brynn after they unpack, did Ubah or did Ubah not actually hear Brynn bring up her essay? So there's a lot of back and forth. I think the entire cast, along with the audience, was confused. They were like, Ubah is way better than me. Because I think everyone truly believes, and probably still believes, that Brynn weaponized her essay in order to make Ubah look bad. And that is a pattern of behavior that we've seen from Brynn throughout the season. And I told you in the middle of a recap, I think it was last week or the previous week, or I think it was previous week, I remembered something because you remember the drama from the cast member that ended up not being a part after being cast for this show. And it involved Brynn. And it involved Brynn saying some damaging things about the cast member and the cast member's husband. And the cast member did an interview with Page Six saying that she felt vindicated because we saw this season that Brynn will stop at nothing to produce television, to produce a lie. And we saw that in her conversation with Rebecca Minkoff this week. Her trying to produce a moment. Oh, I said that so that this is a moment for you to be shady. And Size was like, this is your problem. You are constantly trying to produce something instead of just being real. Brynn, I said this last week, Brynn is a dangerous person, not just for reality television, not just for Bravo and NBC Universal. She's a dangerous person. I would never, ever want to be friends with Brynn. If I saw Brynn on these New York City streets, I would cross the street. No, and I suggest everyone else do the same. I would cross the street. Someone like that is dangerous. If you would do that to someone you considered the only friend that you had on this cast, If you would do that to her, I can only imagine what you would do to someone that you don't know or barely have a relationship with. Just saying. Dangerous. And I do not say that lightly. And I get it. I get why people respect Brynn for talking about her essay, because there are a lot of people that go through this and they're shamed into silence. I get that. But I also believe that Brynn understood the sensitivity of the situation and she used that to her advantage. So, look, I get it. Andy can't say that. Bravo, NBC Universal can't say that. But I'm going to say that because I have free speech. Look, they're her employer. Anyways, guys, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. It's easy and it's free. We're talking about the latest episode of Housewives of New York, their final part of the reunion. The season is over. As you already heard, Shed Media is doing casting, but apparently they do that all the time at the end of every season. Yeah, I can already see. And look, Ubah, you're not innocent either. They did talk about her comments about Puerto Rico, Sai, and Raquel got on her. Raquel's just gorgeous. Every time I saw Raquel in her outfit, I said, Raquel, you got to wear that outfit again. Gorgeous. Okay. She looked amazing. She probably was one of my favorite looks from the reunion. The worst look had to be Jenna Lyons. Sorry. I appreciate Jenna speaking up during this reunion finally, but that look was not looking, girl. Lalinda, thank you so much for becoming a member. We appreciate your support. Zoe, thank you for the super chat. Zoe says, Brynn also weaponized it against Jeff Lewis. This is why Jeff Lewis' comment hurt me. She wanted the public to hate Jeff for asking how she makes money by linking his comment to her essay. I mean, look, there are all kinds of reasons to not like Jeff Lewis, but I see what you're saying. There's Zoe. Julie, thank you so much for the super chat. Julie says, don't know why it took me 6 months to join. Julie, you weren't a member? No, you are a member. I love this community and always thankful for your hard work for us and to you all. I love my new friends. It says that you're a member for 27 months, Julie. What are you talking about? I don't know. That's weird. It says you're a member for 20. I don't know how this works on YouTube. But thank you for the super chat, and we know that you support the community. Thank you so much for the super chat. V says, I was upset with this reunion. Brynn is a gaslighter and she's dangerous. She identifies with convenience in regards to her racial identity. Thank you, V, for the super chat. Kim, thank you for the super chat. V. Kim says, I saw someone say that Brynn, oh yes, also told her brother that no one else knows. I forgot about this part. Thank you for reminding me. I saw someone else say that Brynn told her brother that no one else knows during the season. I really don't believe. I don't believe that Brynn ever told Ubah. I don't believe it. Oh, hold on. I just lost the super chat. Unique, I apologize. Unique, thank you for the super chat. Unique says, I just want to support Kemp. Both shows were okay last night for me. XOXO Kemp. Thank you so much, Unique. I lost your super chat. For some reason, it got kicked off of my thing and I wanted to highlight it, but I'm going to shimmy for the $20. Thank you for the super chat. Not that Amber, thank you for the super chat. It says, why does anyone believe Brynn experienced the essay? She had crazy lies about her friends over 2 seasons. Do we think she wouldn't lie about an unnamed person? Again, it's so sensitive. I get why NBC, Andy Cohen, Bravo, the cast don't want to say that, because Andy does ask the question, do you believe anyone on this cast doesn't believe that this happened to you? And she says, I don't know. And I don't believe, and I get it, and I understand, because we have so many situations where people are not believed, and they should be. I don't want us to have a conversation about whether or not she lied about that. We can have kitchen table talk at home about that, but I don't want to have that conversation here on a public platform. What I do believe is that she tried to weaponize that, and she knew the sensitivity of that against someone that was her friend. But I get where you're coming from, Amber, especially when you see a pattern of behavior. Okay. Just Julie says, I waited 6 months before joining, so it's 26. Oh, okay. So technically you've been a part of the community for 32 months. Oh, I get it now. Thank you, Julie. I was like, wait a second. It says, but okay. Thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate it. All right. All right. Exactly. Ariana says, no one even applying, they didn't believe her about essay. Keita says, yeah, that's tricky. Yeah, like I get it. So that's why I don't want us to even have that conversation. At the end of the day, whatever she's done, lies, whatever, she has to live with that. She has to live with that. Okay. IA says, did anyone else clock? Here we go with the clock word. How easily Brynn would switch between tears and then fighting with Sai and laughing when the cast and Andy made jokes. I will look, I'm gonna give her grace. Hear me out. I'm gonna give her grace, okay? Because if you see some of the edits during the reunion, you see some of that with some of the other women. We saw that when Jessel was talking. One minute you see a lot of tears down her face, and all of a sudden there's no tears. I think it's editing. A little bit of editing, but I think a lot of us watching, we were like, 1 minute she's bawling up with tears, Brynn, and then the next minute she's laughing and joking and shit. So I'm going to give some of that editing as opposed to read between the lines. Okay. April says, yes, clocked it. Damn. Yeah. I think some of that was editing. Some of it. Exactly. Janice says, it is tricky, but we can't say it didn't happen. Exactly. But I can kind of, well, no, I can't. I wasn't there. In regards to her, Brynn telling Ubah, I can't say that 100% didn't happen. But based off of her pattern of behavior, I believe Ubah. Okay. And I believe the other women in regards to when Brynn finally said to them, she even tried to turn on the women and say, you guys, the women weren't there for her. And then she tried to recall what happened in Puerto Rico. And they all were like, that's not what you said. That's not how it happened. We were there for you. And she tried to make them the villains. Okay. Angelique, thank you so much for being a member for 31 months. She says, former Office replay crew saying hi and my thoughts. Yes, Angelique. All right. Ariana says, I think it's clear, too, that she did not tell Ubah. But mind you, she just did an interview with Rolling Stone doubling down that she did tell Ubah. Yeah. After the reunion. After the reunion. All right. Bianca, thank you so much for the super chat. Bianca says, Brynn thought she was slick, throwing in Ubah's cancer comments during her justification/apology. Like Aaron said, stay on the apology, Brynn. That's why I say she's a dangerous person. Like, I don't feel like she was truly apologetic. And when she was meeting with Jenna, saying, I just want to go and hug Ubah. No. She just wants to move on. I think she knows that she went too far. And she just wants to kind of move on. And she's like, I just want to go and hug Ubah. No. You did what you did, and then you doubled down on it in a recent interview. Okay. All right. If you guys had to rate the Real Housewives of New York City reunion from 1 to 10, how would you rate it? Look, I thought it was a better reunion than the rest of the season, but I'm so glad that it was only 2 parts. And I think we need a break from Real Housewives of New York. They need to get this cast together for next season. I'm over thinking, oh, this one could come back. Brynn should definitely not come back. Definitely not come back. She has showed her hand multiple times, and I think that she's a dangerous person to have on this cast. And I personally, if I was a part of the cast, I would not want to film with her because of how dangerous she is. But we shall see. We shall see what they decide to do with this cast. Carlissa says, glad it was 2 parts. Wish I could get a Peacock refund. You and me both. Dorothy says that I'm glad it's over. Yep. Chantel says that narcissists love to bring out tears when they are cornered. Okay. Luam says that the show was anticlimactic, a 7. Okay. Replay crew, we haven't forgotten about you. Be sure to let us know how you would rate this week's episode of The Real Housewives of New York City. There's a new episode. This is the final part, right? This is part 3 of The Real Housewives of Salt. Yeah, this is part 3 of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City reunion. So stay tuned for our recap of that. No promises on when, because what's today? Today's Wednesday. It comes on tonight. Depending on what I have to do, because I'm not, I'm not at my normal space. So depending either tomorrow or Friday. But definitely Friday evening, we will be hosting our special Dating Live with a special life coach to help you guys that need or want perspectives in regards to dating. We're going to be talking about that this Friday, so stay tuned for that. All right. Let me see what you guys are saying. Rebecca says, definitely fire Brynn. Let go of Jenna. Sorry, she gives nothing. Keep Sai, Jessel, Aaron, and Raquel as full-time housewives. Bring a couple of new faces and keep Ubah as a friend. Well, Ubah also, I have to say, after watching part 2 of the reunion, and I like Ubah. And they talked about some of Ubah's reactions during the season, Ubah's comments on Puerto Rico. Maybe as a friend of, because she really has become friends with these women. But I'm not even sure about that. She also doesn't live in New York City anymore. She said that during the reunion. She lives in Connecticut with Oliver. I'm okay if Ubah doesn't return. I think she's a beautiful woman. We've had some funny moments with her. But if Ubah was the energy and the fun during the cast trips from last season and this season, I'd be like, bring her back. She's a great friend up. She wasn't. She was the cause of why last season's trip and this season's trip was lackluster and a drag. So I'm actually okay with Ubah. She's a part of this world already. I'm sure it opened up a lot of other doors for her. She already had a very successful modeling career. Ubah will be fine. So I'm okay with Brynn and Ubah not coming back next season. I think Raquel deserves a second chance. Jenna, I agree. I think Jenna is a part of the success of a lot of things in her life and the JQ brand, but I'm good. I'm good with Jenna Lyons because she's also not sharing her life. Like, there's so much going on and she's sharing it in the media, but she's not sharing on a show where you're supposed to share your life. Fired immediately. All right. Can we talk about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? Yeah, so let's talk about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And guys, don't forget, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Our friends over at Rose Forever is sponsoring today's live show. So be sure to check out our discount link and code in the description. You can get $20 off. You still have time. Okay. You still have time to get a little something for yourself or someone you love, or even your kids. I know a lot of parents that end up getting like little Valentine's gifts for their children. So this is an opportunity for you to do that. All right. All right. Let's move on. Kim, thank you so much for the super chat. Kim says, do we believe that Brynn only watched the season finale the day of? That could explain. Yeah, I do believe that she did watch the season finale day of, because just the way things are scheduled, they end up getting the episodes sometimes, a bunch of the last few episodes right before the reunion. So I do believe that she could have watched that. I know it's hard to believe anything coming from Brynn, but yeah, I do believe that. All right. Shan, thank you so much for the super chat. Shan says, I didn't even watch after seeing that clip of Ubah and Bren holding hands, rolls eyes. Look, at the end of the day, forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is for yourself. And if this makes Ubah feel better and complete, I get it. But I would hope not to see Ubah hanging around this dark spirit ever again in life. Cece, thank you for the super chat. Cece! Cece says, let's not forget Brynn has a degree in public relations and communication. You couldn't tell. I know it seems like she's manipulating things. She's not very convincing. I would never hire her. So she's absolutely knows what to say and how to say it. Very dangerous woman. You would think that she'd be better at it. It's probably why she doesn't work in that field actively. Zoe, thank you for the super chat. You know what I do know? The only reason she probably wasn't good in that field, hence why she's not in it anymore. But she also fits the aesthetic of the women in that field. Just saying. And sometimes these companies just want an aesthetic and not someone that actually has the skill set. Zoe, thank you for another super chat. Zoe says, Brynn is a true narcissist. While explaining the angry black comment, she positions herself as a white savior. I was protecting Ubah. Yeah, we could have a field day talking about that. Exactly. Alma says, same Kempire. Her spinning skills aren't up to par. Yeah. Jean says that she has a degree in telling falsehoods as well. That part. All right. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, guys. If you had to rate this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, how would you rate it? How would you rate it? I thought, look, I didn't expect the scenes that we got this episode, and because these weren't things that they discussed or we knew about, that there was going to be these separate group trips, which we saw on OC. I didn't mind separate group trips or group events, so I thought this was I thought this was a good episode, and it was a reminder, as I've always said, You don't have to have a storyline if you're an interesting person. And I think people like Brynn are created because the fans keep saying, you have no storyline, you have no storyline. So these housewives, these reality TV personalities feel as if they have to create drama. They have to create things. No, I enjoy interesting personalities that can show up and create something in the moment that's real. They're not trying to create drama. They're not trying to give you a storyline. They're just living their lives, and they're just interesting people. All right. So at the top of this episode, we have them flashing back in regards to Dorit and PK's relationship. Okay. They also flash back to a dinner that's had with Erica, Bose, and Kathy Hilton with Dorit, and them talking to Dorit about her relationship with PJ. So they flash back to a week earlier. Okay. So we have Garcelle going over to Sutton's home. And Sutton's like, I've brought you here under false pretenses. So basically, she wants to invite Garcelle and Kyle to go with her back to her home in Augusta. I forgot that she actually has property in Augusta, an actual beautiful home, because we love property and decor. So she brings Garcelle over to be like, I brought you here under false pretenses, okay? I want to invite you to Augusta. And Garcelle's like, I'm ready. Let's do it. I got excited too. And then she decided she wanted to invite Kyle. And I was like, fine. It seems like they're forming a new friendship amongst Sutton and Garcelle. Sidebar, I did hear that Kyle did reach out to Garcelle to apologize for calling her a-hole during the after show, as you should. Because you've come across so unlikable, Kyle, and I think this is your the only saving grace for Dorit is that people dislike you. I don't want to say hate, dislike you so much that they are like, okay, I love me some Dorit. I think that is the only reason why. But people forget that Dorit's just as much a fake person as Kyle, if not more. That's just I didn't want to see Kyle on this trip. I didn't mind Kyle being on the trip. To be honest with you, I didn't. When I saw it, I didn't mind it because I could see her at least having a good time and just being there. I didn't mind it, especially because Kyle doesn't want to talk about her own personal story, so it's okay to bring Kyle into this because she's not going to make it about herself yet. Gigi says, why ask Kyle to go? Because I guess the producers intentionally wanted to have like this sort of like these separate scenes, which I was okay with. I actually, and this was probably one of my favorite episodes of the season because of Reba. Oh, and look, all of you don't sit here and act as if you don't know someone as crotchety as Reba, but we'll go back. We'll get there. So Sutton invites Garcelle to meet with her mother and to see where she grew up. Okay. Not Jim Crow, y'all are a mess. So we'll get to the super chat in a second. Jean says the mommy dearest of the South. Woo! She was something else. I just didn't understand, but I understood the fever she was giving Garcelle. I was like, okay, this is interesting. Anyways, was anyone okay? I'm like jumping around, but this is my review. I can jump around. I was wondering at first. I said, "Oh, are we going to Reba's house?" I thought at first when they arrived that this was Reba's house. No, this was Sutton's house, but Reba lives on the estate. Okay, all right, but fine, all right. But this is where we learn more. I forgot about Sutton's, relationship with her mother, and she says she isn't sure her mother even likes her. She knows that her mother loves Christian, her ex-husband, but she knows that Sutton doesn't know if her mother even likes her. The only reason Reba probably likes Christian is because she knows Christian is paying for the lifestyle. Okay? Anyways. Allie, is that true? Oh, let's not say stuff that we don't know 100%. Allie says Sutton owns a plantation. Did she say that? Correct me if that's wrong. Mr. Melon Magic says that Kempire, are you on vacation? Y'all know if I'm not in the studio and I'm working, it's never vacation. Okay. When I actually go on vacation and I don't put out content, that will be a vacation. All right. Sutton mama gives Jim Crow. Okay. 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 Dorothy said it gave that feel. Okay. Okay. Let's just because look, Dee Dee says she didn't say that, but her mama does own a plant. Oh, her mama owns a plantation. Not a plantation. But wait a second. So her mother has another space because remember her mother lives on Sutton's property. All right, moving along. We'll get back to Reba in just a second. Okay. So Sutton talks about her relationship with her mom and difficulties of that relationship. Sutton then FaceTimes with Kyle, who's in the bed with bad lighting, and says, "I want to invite you to this trip to Augusta." So she was like, "I'm here for it. I'll definitely do it." Okay. Oh, damn. Danny says that Sutton should never bring her mom on TV again. Never. Well, this wasn't her first time. They flash back to when her mother was on before, early parts of the season. This Brooklyn Diamond says Reba was making it nice with Christian to stay on the gravy train. Exactly. I don't think she realizes that the lifestyle that's paying for her right now, although it's Christian, is not really Christian. It's Sutton. Sutton could easily cut you off right now. I don't think Sutton would, but who's paying for it? Although he's paying Sutton, Sutton's paying for your lifestyle. She doesn't have to pay for your lifestyle. All right. Anyways, let me get back to it. So they invite Kyle. They FaceTime with Kyle to invite Kyle. Sutton tells Garcelle that her mom, because you're sort of like, okay, we have to remember your mother is 82 years old. You got to be nice to her. And she's like, my mother does not need to be treated with kid gloves. And look, at this particular point, we don't know what we're dealing with. We know now that we've watched the episode, but we don't know what we're dealing with in regards to Sutton's mother. But Sutton's just like, yeah, my mother, what's Sutton's mother's sign? Because we like to talk about astrological signs. I'm like, what is her sign? I need to know. Deborah, we're going to talk about it. Deborah says, how can someone call their grandchild weird on TV? There's a lot of stuff that Reba did that I was like, oh, your grandson's going to see this, right? Okay. Anyways, all right. So Garcelle and Sutton invite Kyle. We move on to this next scene. Dorit and Bose meet up. Okay. Dorit recalls what Sutton did during last week's episode in regards to interrupting her when she was talking about her son Jagger bringing up a divorce. Okay. So Dorit tells Bose about that she texts PK, that she texts PK about the kids. And she asked him a question about the kids, and she never heard back from him. Mind you, she said that they were talking 5 times a day, and after their scene, she says she has not heard from him. Okay. So I guess PK is okay with looking like a bad father and husband on television if it means it's going to pay the bills. I tell you every week, I don't believe that this is real. Okay. Alex says PK has her blocked. No, he doesn't. So because after 24 hours, she sends a text to PK saying like, hello. And he responds back, I'm at a friend's wedding. Have a nice day. What? So she's like livid. I don't know if I believe that, y'all. Like, I don't know if I believe that. But we'll play along. We'll play along. We'll do Bose. We'll play along and follow this storyline. And mind you, you know that husbands are not going to be at the reunion, so it's not like we're going to be able to confront PK about this behavior. We're going to have to rely on just Dorit and her narrative of what's going on between them. So she says that PK replied to her and says, "I'm at a friend's wedding. Have a nice day." Okay. CC says that PK has always been an A. He really has. In real life, he really is that. Like, he's the type of guy to fight with bloggers on social media. Okay. Anyways, and fight with these housewives on social media. Now, Alex says that PK was busy with the girlfriend. Aris says someone can interview PK. I don't trust PK. Even if he did do an interview, I think that PK and Dorit are in on it. In my humble opinion. All right. I didn't bring my little timer here. Okay. Let me see what I wanted to get into before we get to this stuff. Okay, so we had that scene with Dorit and Bose. They love each other. They're best friends. Look, good for Dorit. I'm glad she has a best friend. It's probably her only friend. Bose goes on a date with Keely. They are a beautiful couple, but I have concerns, especially after seeing the preview week. So in this conversation, they go out to dinner. Bose brings up the conversation of fertility. As you know, she just had her fibroids taken out. She's 47 years old, probably 48 now. So she's hoping to have a baby with Keely. So Keely makes some interesting comments. He said he denies that he wouldn't waste her time. What? What are you saying? I didn't understand that. I wouldn't say I wouldn't waste your time. But then he says, is there a timeline? First of all, Keely, you're not dumb. So now that I reflect on that comment, is there a timeline? You're not dumb, Keely. Okay. And then it reminds me, because I have a thing when I say heterosexual men, when they reach a certain age, if they've never been married or have children, there's something there. Not gay men, it's different. But heterosexual men, if you reach a certain age and you haven't had children or had a marriage under your belt, I'm like, In this conversation, I said, and there it is. You don't know a timeline. Is there a timeline? She's near 50. Is there a timeline? Okay. Is there a timeline? And she's just like, hey, girl. What's going on? Carbella says that PK got sober and got tired of her long-windedness in regards to Dorit. Okay, so they have this conversation about a timeline. She's like, yeah. But she also says to Keely, like, I don't want to have a baby with you out of wedlock. Makes sense. And he agrees with her in that regard. So next week we see a preview where they're talking about fertility and they're talking about babies and they're talking about marriage, but they've never said I love you to each other. What is supposed to come first? What is supposed to come first? The I love you, then marriage, right? And then a baby? I mean, you can have the conversation, but if you're seriously having the conversation with with someone, I think at some particular point, I love you should have been said. We could always count on Janelle to get us the tea. Janelle's an astrological tea. Janelle says Sutton's mother, Reba, is a Cancer. She was born on July 9th. Sutton being a Virgo makes this dynamic very interesting. I DM you Sutton's post about it. I don't have my phone with me. Hold on. Let me see if I can check my DMs from here. Please hold. I love it when I get the astrological tea from our friend Janelle. Bonjour. Guys, keep liking the video. Mods, can you let me know where we've reached in regards to our likes? Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, when was this? Thank you so much, Janelle. Let me see this. When did she post? Oh, this was 30 weeks ago. So this was last year. Oh, she says in her post to her wish my mother Reba the happiest birthday today, a pioneer of women who has paved the way for all of us women to excel in whatever we choose in life to pursue. Okay. She also put hashtag Steel Magnolia. And that's my brother who just turned 50. Oh, okay. Her mother is a very interesting personality. I will say this. Okay. Thank you so much, Foxy. Foxy says that we reached 349 likes and we have almost 1,300 people watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. How many likes, mods? You guys decide how many likes we should get in order to drop the call-in link. But if you are a member of the channel, I will drop the call-in link for you guys on the community tab. I will take callers in just a moment. Let me just put that here on the community tab first. And if you're part of the replay crew, be sure to let us know your thoughts on the Rhony reunion and your thoughts on the latest episode of Beverly Hills. I have to say, I really enjoyed this episode of Beverly Hills for a variety of different reasons. Okay. All right. I dropped that call-in link there. Let me get back to my notes here. So that date with Bose and Keely, although short, was quite telling about him. And I was excited for Bose. I did kind of, my ears perked up when I found out that he was a man of a particular age, never married, never had kids, which is a unicorn in this world. But then I said, okay, I'm just gonna wait. We listen and we don't judge. ... Yet. Okay. All right. Then in another scene, Kyle and Mauricio go pow pow powing. Okay. Because she talks about the burglaries and things like that, and Mauricio's no longer in the home. I will say this. I didn't mind the scene with Mauricio and Kyle because I feel like this is probably her happy place, her comfort is someone that she can have a scene with without coming across as fake and phony. And it kind of did make me kind of go, oh, because although I have my questions about this separation, we can't deny that these two loved each other, have children, have years of marriage under their belt. Even if they've had their ups and downs, alleged infidelity, I was sort of like, okay. And I really did kind of feel for Kyle in this moment, not me feeling for Kyle. Well, I'm human, so I can feel for people. Okay. Look, Unique says, I teared up a bit. I did. Well, I didn't tear up. Come on. I didn't tear up, but I got a little emotional for Kyle because that's real. And I think it's the relatability that I know that there's a lot of you that will watch this and have been in Kyle's position, especially after we did our dating live, where a lot of you have similar stories to Kyle being in long-term marriages that now you're not, and you're navigating life after that. So she talks about, he's talking about living alone, and he makes soups for dinner, and she's like, I'm living in the home, our home, and I'm by myself. Her daughters, who she thought, I have a ton of daughters, so the house will always have people in it. She's learning that that's not necessarily true. Okay. And she gets emotional and he hugs her. I was like, oh. And I really do believe that he genuinely feels for Kyle. But at the same time, I feel like it's hard for a lot of people watching this to feel for Kyle because we don't know the full story. Because there is an element in this story that Kyle has hinted at, but never really gave us all of the details. Brooklyn Rose says, divorcing from a long-term marriage is not for the weak, especially if your marriage and your family was your everything. Yeah. So I think that's where I felt for Kyle. Jess says they are definitely soulmates. And friends. They're also very much friends. And you can see that in this moment. I did not expect, again, there were a lot of things in this episode I didn't see coming. I didn't expect a separate scene with Kyle and Mauricio at the gun range, but it was a scene that I was like, oh, woo, 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 Kyle, woo, woo. Jack Love says, I think he moved on from her, but still loves her as a friend. Oh, yeah. Even though, remember, this was her decision. LaLinda, thank you so much for the super chat. Shimmer. LaLinda says, I started to wonder if it was real after they all told her she needed to start filing for divorce. And she said, what if I'm not there yet? In regards to Dorit, yes. Like, girl, if what you're saying is true, he clearly is. Thank you, LaLinda. Because I know a lot of people, they watch the recap. I don't know. I don't stay too long in the comment section after we post it. But I'm sure there are a lot of people that really believe this Dorit storyline. And I feel like there have been signs and symptoms, and we've called them out if you've been watching our recaps, where it's inconsistent in regards to Dorit and this divorce. And that was just one of them that you pointed out. And thank you so much for the super chat. Guys, don't forget, you can also support the channel just by liking today's video. Don't forget, the Kempire After Dark live experience is returning to New York City at the Green Room 42. Is going to be a fantastic night. We're going to be spilling tea. You're going to be spilling tea. There's also meet and greets available. And I look forward to hanging out with you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Brooke Ashley will be joining us on stage as our MC for the night. So stay tuned for that. Okay? All right. All right. Where do I want to go next? I just don't want to dwell because I do want to take some callers, and I'm not going to be able to take everyone today because, as you can see, I'm not in my usual space. So I'm not going to be here for a long time because I want to enjoy time away. Okay? All right. Moving along, we fly down to Augusta, Georgia. All right. I've never been to Augusta, Georgia. If you have, let us know your thoughts on the area. So we arrive at Sutton's beautiful home. At first, I was like, is this Reba's home? And they're like, no, this is Sutton's home. Reba lives in the back. She has her own house on the property. So Sutton gives Garcelle and Kyle a tour, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is really, really beautiful. And if you've ever been to the South, I get exactly what Garcelle was saying. You know, in LA, it's the way the houses are set up is one way, but like when you get to the South, it's very different. Okay. And it's definitely a homier feel. And just a lot more property too. Just a lot of property. So we get a tour of the rooms where Garcelle will be staying, a tour of the home where Kyle will be staying. And then Reba arrives. Sutton's mother arrives. And look, Sutton did warn us. She did kind of give us a heads up about Reba being a special personality. And I didn't expect this energy immediately. Garcelle looked as if she was sort of like meeting the boyfriend's parents. So she was really trying to be nice and sweet. And she even got a gift for Reba. And Reba was like, what is it? She's like, Garcelle's like, open it. But what is it? Awkward. Open it. You think she's like, it's something in here? Open, it's a gift. Missy says nursing home for Reba. Oh, God. Oh, Lord. Anyways, Reba's there, and immediately it's just like, she's like, we've heard so many good things about you. Wait a minute, was it? I think Reba said it to Garcelle first, and then and Garcelle says, I hope good things. She's like, we'll see. Oh my God. But again, I can appreciate it for our entertainment. Sidebar, Garcelle, when she brought her the gift, she's like, I actually brought this in her confession. She's like, I actually brought her a gift. And Kyle over here didn't bring anything. Because we're raised very differently, Garcelle. You were raised with a Haitian mother. I was raised with a Caribbean mother. We've learned you don't come into someone's home with your hand swinging. You come with a little bit of a gift. Garcelle's like, I went to Saks Fifth Avenue and picked this out. She seems very ungrateful. Okay, she was giving Weezer from Steel Magnolias. Whack a Weezer. I was like, what is going on right now? I didn't expect that energy, and I'm assuming Garcelle also did not expect that energy because although Sutton has warned them about her mom, it's sort of like you wouldn't expect the mother to give you that energy. The complications of a mother-daughter relationship is usually there. Usually those mothers know how to play nice with people they don't know. Maybe people that don't look like Garcelle. Maybe. I love Steel Magnolias. Magnolias. I can't even speak right now. Steel Magnolias. I love that movie. One of my favorite movies. Dolly Parton's in that too. Oh, Carmela said, oh wait, Carmela, where's your comment? Carmela says the Jim Crow spirit was strong within her. Who said Ramona? Tyler said, who said Ramona? Oh, goodness. Allie, thank you so much for the super chat. Allie says, well, people also believe she was robbed. Dorit, you're right. Allie, the points have been made. Okay. Ooh. Just Jules says, yes, Kempire. I think she was raised to not like Black people. So is that the energy? That is what a lot of people on social media have been responding to because they noticed that Garcelle was trying to be nice and trying to be welcoming and brought a gift. And it seemed as if Reba was not into it or taking it. Okay. Sure. Well, if she wasn't a woman of a particular age, I would think that this would be a relevant question. But Scherzer says, I need to know where Reba was on January 6th of 2021. I think Reba was in Augusta, Georgia, because she's a woman of a particular age. So I don't think she was out there with those folks. Okay. Anyways, so their interaction is very weird. And then we go to the backyard. Sutton's backyard is big, beautiful. Again, remember I talked about this last week or the previous week? Sutton has good real estate in California and LA, but she has great real estate in Augusta, Georgia. She probably doesn't even pay as much as she pays in LA for this property. And then you see the Reba's home back there as well. Okay. All right. So this is where Garcelle Garcelle is trying. She compliments Sutton's, children. I love the children. And then she's like, yes, I have great children, but that, James is a weird one. And then Garcelle's just like, well, I have a weird one too. Garcelle cracks up because the producers are like, which one of your kids is the weird one? She's like, because she forgot that she even said that. She's like, I think I was referring to Jax. Yeah, Jax is Jax the weird one? Jade is a little weird. I'm sorry. No, it's not about the kids. The kids are fantastic. But she's like, I think I was talking about Jax. And poor Kyle is like, am I supposed to now name which one of my kids are weird? This is where Kyle comes in as, this wouldn't, I see the dynamics and how this works. Okay. Missy says that James is a weird one. I don't remember James of Sutton's kids. And Sutton's like, James is not the weird one. If anything, he's the popular one. If anything, Sutton, you should have went to Kyle. Well, we're all naming our weird children. Name them. Name your weird child. Name your weird child, Kyle. Anyways. All right. Right? Oh my goodness. Miko says, I was shocked. Grandmas usually spoil and talk nice about their grandkids. Not this person. We have to remember the personality that we're dealing with. Now that we're seeing Reba's personality, no, she's the type of grandma that speaks like this. And it's like this with everybody. And I'm sure there are a lot of people that watched this and like, yeah, my grandmother's like that. Or some shape of that. Maya says she's loving my Southern accent. Well, thank you. I do declare. Maz, can you please let me know where we are with our likes today, guys? We have nearly 1,300 of you watching on multiple platforms. We appreciate you all being here. If you want to share your dating life story or questions, be sure to join us this Friday evening here on the Kempire YouTube channel. I'm actually going to make it just for YouTube. So those of you watching on Twitch and Twitter and on Facebook, make sure that you follow and subscribe to us on YouTube. Okay, so I'm not going to make it available on Twitch and Twitter like we did last time. Okay, thank you, Foxy. 444 and 1,300 of you watching. If I was in the studio, what would I be playing? Whoa, 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 wah, wah, wah. I don't get it. It's fun. Okay. Anyways, back to this. All right, guys, if you haven't already, don't forget you can hear an audio version of our live recaps on YouTube, not on YouTube, on our podcast. Be sure to subscribe today to that. Let me go back to my notes. Hold on, y'all. Again, because I'm so used to having multiple screens, and now I have my one screen. So I'm trying to do multiple things at the same time. All right. Okay. There we go. Okay. Let me see my notes. Okay. So we have that. All right. And I forgot who asked what, but Sutton lets them know that, yeah, we're going to dinner. We don't have much time. Okay. So we have these two scenes happening because we also have Dorit, Bose, Erica, Jane go to Kathy's house for a dinner. So they all go there. They greet each other. Blah, 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 blah. All right. So they sit down for dinner. And Dorit brings up Erica not being like she wanted to cause trouble. But Garcelle in the scene with Sutton and Kyle at dinner at Luigi's, she brings up that Garcelle brings up that Erica mentioned not being invited to the Georgia trip. But Dorit in the scene says that, I don't understand why you weren't invited. You're from Georgia. I understand. Am I the only one that understands why Sutton did not invite Erica? They're not the best of friends. Okay. They're not necessarily even in a good place like that. They're friendly, and she wasn't inviting all the ladies. I think also on some level, she didn't invite Erica because, well, no, she says the sensitivity of what they're going to be talking about and dealing with when it comes to her mother. And maybe she didn't want Erica meeting her mother. Maybe she was embarrassed of Erica meeting her mother. But we have to also, if Erica and Sutton were in a better place, I could understand her inviting Erica, but to make a big deal about it was weird. What I also found to be weird were some of the comments that Bose made. So when they made a toast, Bose is just like, cheers. And I think this is better than Georgia. I was like, that's weird. Like, why was that necessary? Were you heard that you also were invited on this trip? It's not like she invited everyone but you. She invited only 2 people out of the group. But Erica's like, oh, you're always talking about sisterhood. Okay, always talking about sisterhood. Yeah, as Bose has said, not everything is for everyone. Danny says, I have my eyes on Bose. I just felt like that comment was unnecessary. I also felt the comment where Bose is speaking to Kathy, Kyle's sister. It's one thing to ask a question about someone's sister, but to say to someone's sister that, and I get it, Bose doesn't know the complexities of Kyle and Kathy's relationship, but we do. So to say to Kathy, I find your sister to be cold. I was like, wait a minute. Like, how are you saying this to someone's sister? Oh my goodness. Dorothy says, I want to see more of Bose outside of her friendship with Dorit. Someone also made a comment. Oh, wait, here it is. Kay Avery says, yeah, I didn't like that Bose, that she's being a follower. Wait, no. Oh, Deja says, but why invite Kyle? They're not in the best terms either. They're in a better place. They're in a better, remember, she also she said she missed Kyle this season. She said that she sees Kyle as like a sister. So she's definitely closer to Kyle than she is to Erica. They have their ups and their downs, but she's definitely closer. But I was like, Bose made 2 comments that made me go, I was like, okay. Adam says, yeah, the comments towards Kathy about Kyle was weird and off-putting. And I'm not saying that she's wrong. I'm not saying that Bose is wrong about Kyle being cold. But to say this to her sister who, and look, Kathy and Kyle have come a long way. They're really trying to work on their relationship. But under Kathy's roof, you're going to say to her, I find your sister to be cold. And she prefaces that by saying that the situation with her and Dorit, she feels as if Kyle might be upset about her getting close to Dorit. I think the entire community watching the show are like, we don't understand it. We don't get it, but good. We like whatever works for you, Bose. But the comment about cheers, and this is so much better than Georgia. Again, if she had invited every single person in the group and left Bose and Dorit out, I could understand that comment. But she only invited 2 people from the group. People that first of all, I'm not surprised that she invited Garcelle. And someone that she considers a sister. Well, you lost another sister. Remember she said that, what was it, last season? So she's definitely closer to those 2 individuals. Okay. Look, Adam says, I don't have siblings, but I know you don't cross that line, especially if you look at the sensitivity. Exactly. Stephanie says the PK PJ comments took me out. Yeah, when Kathy had a few little. Are you okay, Kathy? Kathy talks about her ancestry. She's apparently, did she say Chinese or Asian or something like that, from 3000 BC. I don't know what thing that she was doing. I don't know if it was 23andMe, but apparently she did something that told her that she was Chinese, part Chinese. So they're all looking at Kathy like, what? And then when Kathy's talking about when she met PJ, and then Erica's like, PK, PJ, PK, tomato, tomato. Like it's the same thing. Like it's the same thing. She's like, PJ, PK, same thing. Okay. All right, Kathy. So she's like, when I met PK, he looks 56. I was like, PK's 56? He's definitely giving a hard 72. But okay, that is fine. Okay, if we want to run with that, that is a hard 72 in my head. Okay. But apparently he was 57 at the time. She's like, when I met him, and I met him a long time ago, I thought he was 57 then. Oh, man. Again, Kathy, I'm glad Kathy was back. If we didn't get Jennifer Tilly this week, I'm surprised she didn't invite Jennifer Tilly. What's her name? Sutton on the trip. But maybe Jennifer couldn't make it because I think that she would have invited Jennifer and over Kyle, but maybe Jennifer couldn't make it. So I thought that was interesting. Yeah. So they're flashing back between both conversations. So just to save on time, because I don't want to go through everything. Again, we're not going through every single moment of every episode, but Erica, Kathy, and Dorit, because Kathy asks about, what's going on with Dorit and this divorce and things like that. So this is when Dorit goes on her monologue. Can you imagine how really long this conversation was? We're getting an edited version, but fine. So she reveals that she had that PK when asked about whether PK is a great father or not, she says, there are moments he can be a great father, and then there are moments when he's not very hands-on. Yeah, based on what you've described, the kids haven't heard from him in 2 weeks. Just asking. She says that PK or PJ sent an email about she's like a 7-page email about financials and expectations. He wants her to pay the mortgage. Mind you, their home allegedly is now in pre-foreclosure because the home has not been paid for. Do I doubt that he sent her an email about paying for things? Not really, because it seems like he doesn't like to pay for things in general, including taxes, allegedly. Just asking for a friend. Okay. So she says he sends this 7-page email about all these details. Did y'all also know, pay attention to Dorit's behavior. She's not a good liar or a good actress. She then brings up, well, guys, I also found out this other interesting detail. In California, after 10 years, everything is 50-50. And Erica chimes in. She's like, oh, yeah, after 10 years, I believe you can get spousal support for life. So she wants to say, like, this is what PK's doing. Now he wants to get a divorce because, they're coming up on the 10-year mark. How much you want to bet money these two are not going to get a divorce before the 10-year mark? And this is part of the reason why Sutton was sort of like, you need to file for divorce immediately, because everything from that point on in regards to, and mind you, I'm going to listen to Sutton when it comes to a divorce. She ended up very well. But I could also understand from Dorit's side, why not wait out this, before filing for divorce? Because if it does mean I would get more after 10 years, I'm going to drag this out as long as I can. But why hasn't PK? If that was PK's intention, why didn't PK already file for divorce? If that was his intention, why didn't he file for divorce already? Just asking. So she talks about that. And yes, Erica gives her really good advice in regards to you have to remember what you're dealing with. You don't do what I didn't do. Okay. And I was sort of like, yeah, okay, this is really great advice. If this was a real situation, and hopefully someone that hears this from Erica is inspired and follows that advice. Dorit's not doing anything. Pete says Dorit is playing in our faces. It's a storyline. Anyways, let me take a sip. Again, guys, mods, can you let me know how many likes we have now? We have quite a few members though backstage. So if we don't get to, oh my goodness, we have 1,400 people here. Lord. Okay. Cece, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate your support. Angie, thank you so much for the super chat. Angie says, I also think that Sutton didn't invite everyone else because she knows her mother and the difficult relationship. And that's basically what Sutton says. She says this is a very sensitive trip for her. And you saw how the mother was with Garcelle. Can you imagine how she would have been with everybody in the group? And she doesn't need the rest of the group to be offended or have an issue with her mother. Okay, so, or what her mother might say to them, or what she's told her mother that her mother might bring up. Just saying. So they talk about that whole, California law in regards to the 10-year mark and blah, 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 blah. Erica gives her great advice, and all you hear from Bose, she's like, oh, yeah, yes, hell no. All Bose giving all this, commentary. All right. So Dorit says in her confessional, again, putting on, because we've never seen this Dorit in regards to, she's like, I'm going to do what I need to do. Acting all tough, big and bad and tough. Okay. All right, Dorit. But I'm going to sit here and play along for now. But I'm already bored that we're still talking about Dorit and her storyline. See what I mean? Even with Dorit having a storyline, we're not that interested or invested. At least I'm not. You guys will let me know if you're interested and invested in the Dorit storyline. But we're always surprised when we get these things from Sutton. It's like, oh, did not see this happening this season. Okay. And I think a lot of people can relate to Sutton's dynamic with her mom. And we're not done. As you saw with the preview, Garcelle's going to have Garcelle in this episode is like, I think I'm going to have a conversation with your mom. And Kyle is like, you are brave. Like, I don't know. I need, you're very optimistic. I just don't know where that's going to go. And Garcelle's like, I'm going to speak my piece and then I'm going to run. Again, Garcelle doesn't need a storyline because Garcelle is an interesting person. This episode alone gives me life from why Garcelle is necessary on this show. Okay? These are the moments. So Garcelle says she's going to have a conversation with Reba. And we see a preview of that conversation. And Reba is something else. Okay? Boom Shakalaka says Fancy, aka Garcelle, needs to stay out of it. No, I want her in it. For entertainment purposes only. I want her in it for entertainment purposes only. I cannot believe I've been talking for like an hour and a half, almost. I'm not taking all the callers because I need to go live life. Okay. All right. Mods, can you let me know how many likes we've gotten? Thank you. All right. Callers, be brief. I don't have my timer. Next time I'm going to have my timer. Definitely have my timer for Friday Nights Live. But be brief. I will have an internal timer to help us move along and get to all of the callers because we already have quite a few people backstage that want to share their thoughts. Wendy's backstage. But before I bring Wendy up, let me put up my disclaimer of the callers. The callers are calling in of their own free will. Do I not have it on here? Oh, here it is. I need to move this up. Okay. Let's bring up Wendy first. Wendy, what did you want to share?
Hi, Kempire. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Okay, I'm going to be very quick. All right. Rhony, Brynn, all that lying and stuff that you're doing is aging you, girl. You look older than Ubah. Okay, so I'm done with that. Beverly Hills. Now, I'm thinking now that the 10 years have already surpassed if that was depending on how long ago this was shot. So I'm thinking that Dorit and PK have been married for over 10 years. So whatever she was trying to do, it missed the mark. And Bose, please do not try to have a child and you're almost 50 because that means that your child graduating high school, you will be a senior citizen. You do not want that. And I'm just saying, I'm not being an ageist or anything like that, but we're at the age we should enjoy the fruits of our labor without actually going into labor. All right. Thank you. Have a great one.
Thank you, Wendy. Take care. Winter, it says devices not connected. I don't know where you are, what you're doing. Winter. All right. I'll come back to you, Winter. Nassar, what did you want to share?
Hey, Kempire. I'm going to be really quick and brief. I do want to say happy Aquarius season. That's it. I swear. That's it. And I'll move on. So for Rhony, I just wanted to say Brynn triggers me because she reminds me of someone I used to work with. Everyone has had a Brynn in their life in a corporate environment where they do all that microaggression and you know what they're doing to you, but people don't see what they're doing. But now everyone knows who she is. I hope Ubah stays off the show. I want her to stay in Connecticut, get with her man, have her child, enjoy herself. Like, enough is enough. And the producers knew what was going on and they shouldn't have allowed it to be aired. Let's move on to Beverly Hills real quick. Bose, leave that man alone. He does not want to get married. He does not want to have a child with you. You've grown. You've already had a child. You're blessed. Enjoy your life. Reba is just racist. Let's just say what it is. Yes, she's a woman of a particular age. Whatever. We're being all nice and polite. This is how we got this Cheeto into the first, like in the White House. We got to call a thing, okay? She's racist as can be. And I understand why Sutton didn't want anyone to come with her and she kept the group small. I would be embarrassed if that was my mother too. Okay, I'm done. Done.
Thank you, Nassar.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. All right. We've got April backstage. We're going to bring April up next. Hold on. April, what did you want to share?
Good afternoon. So I've been to Augusta, Georgia. Do not fly with Delta there because only 2 airlines fly in there, Delta and American Airlines. And Delta actually left. So after the plane came and picked us up from the airport, right? They took us back to Atlanta and Kempire. They left us stranded. Like they said at first the flight was delayed and then it was like, oh, I was delayed, and then it was no crew, and then they just canceled. So don't go there. If you plan to fly with those airlines, don't do it. Miss Reba is definitely giving that 1940s Jim Crow racism that we see in the textbook. She was probably in one of those photos. I'm just saying. Also, I have notes. Also, Brynn is also giving off that racism as well. It kind of puts me back to Emmett Till and what he went through with the accusations. That's very, very dangerous. And let me look at my other notes. And yes,
No, April, we gotta
Sutton. Okay, bye. All right, bye.
Thanks, April. Bye. Because I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, all right, we're already over a minute. All right, Janelle's backstage. We're going to bring Janelle up next. Janelle, what's going on?
Bonjour, Kempire. How are you doing?
Oh, how are you?
I am good. Okay, I just want to talk about the astrology, y'all, because you were spot on that Sutton's mom is truly, truly Weezer. Like, if y'all don't get that reference, please go and watch Steel Magnolias. She is truly Weezer all through and through. I find it interesting. I think Bose and Kyle. Now, I do think Bose is going to she's going to come back next season, because right now Beverly Hills is in that phase where they're like, oh, like everything's fine. There's not crazy drama, but like, you know what I mean? It's like Atlanta went through those years, like it was consistent, it was strong, but like nothing crazy happened, if that makes sense. Bose is an Aquarius. So I'm just like, okay, you are going to constantly be butting heads with Kyle. So next season, I am foreseeing them really like coming at like, really come throws to throws with each other. And then, which is funny. And then Stun's going to be there for backup because Stun's a Virgo. And I don't know many Virgo Aquarius combos that get along the best, but that's just me. Maybe I could be swayed. Okay. And the reason why Jennifer Tilly and Sutton are besties is because Jennifer Tilly is also a Virgo. So she recognizes Sutton's crazy ways. Yeah. She gets it. She was like, oh, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Okay. So there you go. That's all I wanted to say. And also, yeah, Reba's a Cancer. I'm sensing some fire sign energy in her. So I'm really curious to see what her rising is, her moon, and also her Mercury placement. Because, child, like now we know why Sutton a little cuckoo crazy, but we love it. We love it for the show. Anyway, bye, darling.
Thank you, Janelle. Take care. All right, we have Zoe backstage and bring Zoe up next. Hold on. Zoe, what did you want to share?
Hi, Kempire. We survived New York. It was draining. It's over. Thank you, Jesus. I wish that Ubah was more, like, I like what she said about the angry black woman comment, but I just wish she leaned in better more, because I wanted her to talk more about Brynn's prejudice, self-hating, projection, the angry black woman comment. Janice has a bit of black in her, which the only time I've ever heard someone say that is when they are racially profiling someone. And the black girls in the pool comment, why black women kind of support each other. She truly believes that black people hate each other. Ubah is violent. There were just so many talking points. And I don't think that they were just left in the editing room, because it's controversial, it's emotional invoking, and they need it for the ratings. So I just feel like those girls are too self-aware and want to be nice. So they just went a little bit too easy on Brynn. And I was a little bit disappointed. The same way they Sia and Erin were when Ubah went to forgive. I remember just saying it to myself, that I love being African, but one thing I don't like about ourselves, we are too quick to forgive people who never ask for forgiveness. And that's what Ubah just portrayed. And I was like, damn, this is one of our biggest weaknesses. But hey, it is what it is. She chose peace over anger. And I'm glad it's over. I hope I never see Brynn again. She is triggering. Bye, Kempire.
Thank you, Zoe. Take care. Shout out to the callers handling and getting through these moments. So we appreciate you. Bianca, thank you so much for the super chat. Bianca says Dorit and PK XYZ can split that bankruptcy 50-50. That part. People be peopling. Thank you so much for the super chat. People be peopling says, I'm an Aquarius and I like to psychoanalyze people. Is it possible that Sutton is neurodivergent? She misses a lot of social cues and can come across much like her mother. Oh, yeah. And that was another thing that Garcelle brought up during their dinner with Sutton and Kyle. She talks, because Sutton says, a lot of people say that I'm very similar to my mother. And she's like, I don't see it. And then Garcelle brings up, I can see it during these particular moments, and they flash back to moments with Sutton that might be very similar to her mother. And probably part of the reason why Sutton didn't want her mother to meet the entire group. Jarrell says that Beyonce and Kelly are a Virgo and Aquarius, Kelly being the Aquarius and Beyonce being the Virgo, and they're best friends. Well, look, Amina, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to bring you up next. Amina, what did you want to share?
Hi, Kempire. I was really amused by the PKXYZ. I found that funny. I really want to like Bose. I really, really do. But I just can't seem to get it. I just can't seem to connect with the lady because it just doesn't make sense how she's friends with Dorit, because Dorit is such a weirdo. I don't know if you can really be friends with Dorit unless you are also a weirdo. And I'm tired of seeing these successful, I'm tired of seeing these successful, beautiful Black women begging men to marry them. Like, there has to be another way. Like, I'm really triggered by seeing these women. If you have to keep convincing a man to marry you, like, when are you going to marry me? When are you going to get a ring? What's the timeline? If you have to beg, it's not going to happen. And you're going to waste your time with this guy. I need her to. And that's another thing that contradicts, because she shows up as a confident, self-assured woman, but the way she's in her relationship is a contradiction to that. So I don't get both. I'm waiting to see if I can get Bose, but I'm just not getting it at the moment. That's all I have to say.
Thank you so much, Amina. I appreciate that. Listen, I love the calls. You guys give such great perspectives. We're going to bring up Miss Brooklyn Diamond next. Miss Brooklyn, what did you want to share?
Hi. I think Ubah and the other women forgave Brynn verbally, but they've moved on because they knew the heat and backlash they would get on social media if they didn't. So, and I think there's a lot more floating through their heads than they can say, again, because of the backlash for social media. Brynn needs to go. Ubah can be a friend of, because she's living in Connecticut, and that's all I have to say about New York. For Beverly Hills, the way these women act when they're in a group, would you take the group of them to go meet your mother, whether you liked your mother or not? I wouldn't, because in a group, they don't know how to behave. So no, I wouldn't do that. Erica questioning why she wasn't taken because she has Southern roots. You and Sutton can't get along for more than 5 minutes at a time. That's why you were not taken. She did invite Jennifer Tilly, but Jennifer had a conflict. So that's why she invited Kyle to take Jennifer's place. Jennifer said that in the after show.
Okay.
The reason why PK hasn't filed for divorce, because after them 10 years, he can split that bankruptcy and that debt with her. Do it before the 10 years and she can be free and clear of that bankruptcy and that debt. Bose, you want to know why Kyle is cold? You have done nothing but crawled up Dorit's hindquarters and lived there for the entire season, not making yourself available to the other women to get to know them as well. Plus, she's in a argument with Dorit and you keep taking Dorit's side. No, I'm not going to be warm toward you because you are in the middle of a friendship and an argument that you really don't know anything about. And you're putting your 2 cents in on one side without actually going to hear the other side.
No.
And as for the rest of it, Garcelle, I understand what she's doing. Sometimes hearing as a parent, sometimes hearing something from somebody else on how your friend is feeling about that relationship can make a parent open their eyes. And I think that's what Garcelle is trying to do. It's not going to work because Reba is not feeling Garcelle at all. And that's a whole other type of conversation. And just as a joke, as for her saying her grandson is weird, I say my youngest granddaughter is evil, but I say it with love, but she really is. But I say it with all types of love. If you ever met this child, she's the sweetest thing in the world, but she is evil. Have a good day, everyone.
I was not ready for that. All right, Miss Sharon's backstage. We'll bring Miss Sharon up next. Miss Sharon, what did you want to share? Miss Sharon, you're muted. Miss Sharon. Miss Sharon, you're muted still. And I can't hear you. Call back in, Miss Sharon. All right, let's bring up Winter. Winter, what did you want to share?
Hi, Kempire. Okay, so I'm in the doctor's office, but I really wanted to, I'm always doing something. So let me just tell you, that situation with Ubah and Bren, I felt like they were like treading lightly and giving Bren a little too much grace. They should, I was so disappointed in Ubah's response when she said that wasn't my experience as a Black woman because I'm hot. I understand that may not be your experience, but I need you to, you should have spoke up for every Black woman. That's what I expected from her. But I also understand that she, cultural-wise, she probably just doesn't understand a Black woman's experience in America. But it was just...
But that's part of the reason why some people, when they saw the new cast, they wanted someone that was African-American.
Yeah, because that response was so ignorant in itself. Like, I was like, no, girl, you should have told her that's not my experience. But as for everyone else, you offended all Black women. You need to watch what you say. Those microaggressions, those stereotypes is what we fight for every day. And I was just like, maybe Ubah doesn't get that because not only that, she is a supermodel and she is engaged to a white man. So she's in a different type of space. You being engaged to a white man tells me everything I need to know. Okay? Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Winter. And I'm glad Winter brought that up because I think a lot of people probably felt that way too. And I I cringed when she said that. And I was just like, that might be your experience, although I highly doubt that because I felt like she's talked about being like one of the only Black, women when she first started pursuing modeling. So I kind of felt like that was irresponsible because I'm pretty sure you have experienced maybe not everything like every other Black woman in the space, but you also were in a space in modeling where there weren't a lot of people like you. So that is important to mention. All right. Let's bring in Miss Sharon. Miss Sharon, what is going on? I can't hear you. You're muted.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing fine. As you know, I am a Aquarius.
Mm-hmm.
You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we get along with everybody. I do. I get along with everybody except for Cancers. Let me tell you why.
And Dorit's a Cancer. Just saying.
Huh?
And Dorit's a Cancer.
What'd you say?
Dorit's a Cancer.
I wouldn't get along with her because they say things off wall to me. And I am hot tempered. Now with Reba, I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Missouri, which is kind of considered the South. And I live by the code where you respect your elders. And when somebody says something off-putting to me like that, I have a stop button because I know where I can go. Because I will break you down like a fraction. You wouldn't want to mess with me.
Oh.
So I would call this episode Two Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Reba, and I don't know what was wrong with Kathy, but that's all I had, Kempire.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Miss Sharon. All right. We're going to bring up Phoenix next. Hold on. Phoenix. What's going on, Phoenix?
Lord, there were a lot of callers. I haven't called in a really long time. I can see you've gained a lot of popularity. Good for you. I want to let you know that I went to the Watch What Crappens live thing and I saw you. I didn't know that you were planning on going to that. So that was really great to see you. I just wanted to say that as a Black woman that lived on the West Coast for half a decade, going to Bose's man, whatever the hell his name is, there is a way that brothers act out there and the way that they treat sisters, especially sisters of a certain complexion.
Ooh.
So that I'm just going to leave it at that. And I also think that it's ridiculous. Not having a timeline is fine, but not if you're trying to persuade somebody to carry your child. I think that that's kind of ridiculous. As far as the Dorit thing, I believe it for now, at least part of it. I think that she is mourning, but I think what she's mourning is the loss of her status as a sugar baby. I think that they had an arrangement. I think their relationship was a business arrangement. Now that he's not drunk anymore, he don't want to pay for stuff for her. He's actually realizing that he's not as rich as he was. I'm going to just say that. Kyle, I cannot stand her, but what I really think happened was that Mauricio had been cheating on and off for a while, and she kind of put her foot down and said, we're going to date separate people. You're going to move out, and you know what? Like, she kind of thought that she was, like, going to push him away and that he was going to then come back and never cheat on her again. And instead, he went and now he's living his best life. And I think that that's what she's mourning, but she'll never admit it.
Oh, all right, Phoenix. Thank you so much for calling.
All right. Love you. Take care.
Take care. All right. We have Miss Bernice. Miss Bernice would be our final caller. If you guys just joining us, we're talking about the latest episode of The Real Housewives of New York, Reunion, and The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. But if you're part of the replay crew, be sure to like the video. Be sure to subscribe if you're not a subscriber already. And be sure to let us know your thoughts on both episodes. And as always, we do not moderate adults, so behave nicely in the chat. Okay? Let's bring up Miss Bernice next. Miss Bernice, what did you want to share?
Hello. What up to everybody? How everybody doing?
Good. You?
I forgot you was on until I looked at my phone. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
When I looked at the reunion, Brynn is still going to do what you're going to do. because she doesn't understand what she did was wrong. She was so bad in her tears that she really wasn't listening to the women tell her how much she had hurt them because she was using her hurt to deflect them. And when she always say, I was just protecting you, Ubah, I was just protecting you. Protecting her from what? You? And when she kept saying, she said, well, I'm biracial, but I identify as Black. Either you're going to own your Blackness or you're not. Either you're going to be comfortable in your Blackness or you're not.
Yeah.
Just say I'm biracial. You don't say I have to identify as Black because you're not comfortable in it. Just be honest.
Okay.
Because you haven't had enough of the Black experience as in growing around and interacting with Black people. That's not our fault.
All right.
And it's not our fault to educate you on how to be Black. Either you accept it or you don't.
All right. All right, Miss Bernice, thank you so much for calling in.
Okay, boo. Have a good
day.
one.
You too. Bye. All right. Final thoughts on this week's episode of the Real Housewives of New York reunion and the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills latest episode. Stay tuned for our recap of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I probably at some particular point, I'm not in the studio, so there will be content, but just not as much content. So stay tuned. But don't forget, we will be live on Friday evening. I haven't decided on the time just yet, but we will have a special guest to discuss hot topics like dating and astrology. So stay tuned for that. We're going to bring a life coach on to help us. But if you missed it and you want to have an idea of what we do during these lives, be sure to check out our last Friday dating live, which was 5 hours. You can hear the podcast version on our podcast, which is a little bit edited down. Just a little bit. So be sure to check that out and be sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And don't forget our sponsor today, Rose Forever. And again, these roses are like 2 years old. If you look at them, 2 years old, these roses are. Isn't that crazy? So be sure to check out Rose Forever for roses that last you at least a year. Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Of course, we've got your discount Kempire 20 for $20 off. More information is available in the description, along with ticket information for the Kempire After Dark live experience. The Kempire After Dark live experience is returning to New York City on Friday, February 21st. There is a live stream option, so go get your tickets for that if you are not in New York City and you want to be a part of the show. All right. Shout out to our Kingsguard. Shout out to our channel members. Become a member today at TheKempire.com/join. And of course, a shout out to our subscribers. We appreciate you guys as well. And shout out to everyone that sent in a super chat. Hi, Vibe. Thank you for the super chat. High Vibe says, Bose is a marketing executive. I think she's curating her role on the show. Very smart and astute woman. Agreed. And I told you that was part of my reasoning when I found that out. I was like, I'm a little concerned because someone that is very aware of marketing can come across as inauthentic. Not saying that she is, but I could see how she's curating her role on the show. And it's not dumb because she's going to build a whole other audience. And remember, she does speaking for a lot of different things, and women are her core audience. So is Bravo's. So it's very smart of her. Shar, thank you so much for the super chat. Shar says, I believe that Dorit is part of the reason they broke up. That's why PK is angry. Yeah, very possible. All right, y'all. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video if you haven't liked the video already. How many likes do we have so far? We have 1,300 of you here. We should have 1,300 likes at least. But it's okay. Replay crew, make up for them. Let's get to 1,000 likes. We appreciate it as well. All right. I appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your day. I will see you all in the next one. Don't forget, here on the Kempire channel, we don't just talk about Real Housewives or reality TV. We talk about everything in pop culture. So be sure to check out some of the things that you may have missed, including my recap of the Fall of Diddy documentary that was on Max. That is now available on the Kempire podcast. The visual version will be made available at some particular point this week here on the channel. So be sure to check that out. I will see you all in the next one. Everyone have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much to our mods. Foxy, thank you so much. Let's get to 700 likes, y'all. Let's get to 1,000 likes. Why are you holding out on the likes? Goodbye, y'all. I'm done.
Thanks for tuning in to The Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. As always, don't forget to give The Kempire Podcast a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. We're trying to get to 1,000 reviews on both platforms. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, download, and share The Kempire Podcast.